Have you ever wondered why birds don't get electrocuted on power lines? Well, it's a question that sparked many a debate, and today we're going to put a pin in it. You see, birds have this fantastic ability to perch on power lines without getting a shock. And it's not because they've got some secret superpower or they've signed a non-aggression pact with electricity. It's because they don't touch the ground or any grounded object while they're up there. This might sound shocking, but electricity is always looking for a way to get to the ground, and it takes the path of least resistance. A bird sitting on a wire is not a very tempting proposition for electricity, especially when it could continue flowing along the wire instead. The bird is like that friend who, when you're on a road trip, never offers to drive but is always ready with a playlist. Not very useful, but not causing any harm either. Now let's contrast this with us humans. We're a curious bunch, aren't we? We love poking our noses and fingers in places they don't belong. And while our sense of touch is great for exploring the world, it's also why we get shocked so easily. Imagine if we were like birds, perched on a power line. We'd probably be too tempted to touch something, maybe a tree or a lamppost. And the moment we did that, zap! We'd offer electricity a shortcut to the ground through us. Not a very pleasant thought, is it? So the next time you see a bird nonchalantly sitting on a power line, don't be fooled by its calm demeanor. It's not getting a buzz from the electricity. It's just chilling quite literally above it all. And let this be a reminder to all of us that sometimes not touching things can be a good thing, especially when those things are high voltage power lines. So next time you see a bird on a power line, just remember they're not getting a buzz, they're just chilling. Did you know that ancient Egyptians were the first to discover electricity? Yes, they got the shock of their lives. Let's take a trip back in time, about 5,000 years ago, to the ancient land of the pharaohs. Long before the invention of the light bulb, the Egyptians had a rather shocking encounter, quite literally, with electricity. And no, we're not talking about them stumbling upon some high-tech alien gadget buried in the sand. Their discovery was a lot wetter and a lot more, shall we say, alive. Yes, we're talking about the electric fish. Among the creatures of the Nile, there were certain fish that stood out. The electric rays, electric catfish, and the infamous electric eel. When touched, these fish gave off a jolt of electricity, a sensation quite alien to the Egyptians. Imagine an ancient Egyptian fisherman out on his daily catch, suddenly getting an unexpected jolt from his catch of the day. Must have been quite a shock, right? And talk about an electrifying fish fry. But it wasn't just about the surprise shocks. The Egyptians were observant. They noticed the consistent shock produced by these fish and realized it was a natural phenomenon. This was their first encounter with electricity. Over time, the electric fish became a symbol of power and protection in their culture, with the electric catfish even being depicted in their hieroglyphs. So next time you flip a switch, remember, it wasn't Thomas Edison who first stumbled upon electricity. It was an ancient Egyptian, probably standing knee-deep in the Nile, holding an electric eel in his hand, who first experienced the shock of a lifetime. We've come a long way from getting shocks from fish to harnessing electricity to power our world. But we owe it all to that first electrifying encounter. So remember, electricity didn't start with Edison, it started with an eel in Egypt. Ever rubbed a balloon and stuck it on your head? Congratulations, you're a hair-raising scientist. Now, let's dive into the wonderfully whimsical world of static electricity. It's a place where you can transform into a human lightning bolt and make your friend's hair stand on end, literally. So how does this work? Well, it all boils down to the movement of electrons. When you rub a balloon against your hair, you're actually transferring electrons from your hair to the balloon. Your hair becomes positively charged, while the balloon becomes negatively charged. And just like in any good romantic comedy, opposites attract. So your positively charged hair tries to get as close as possible to the negatively charged balloon, causing your hair to stand up. It's like a little love story playing out on your head. Now let's talk about the fun you can have with static electricity. Ever wanted to play a harmless prank on your friends? Just shuffle your feet on the carpet and then reach out for a handshake. Zap! That little shock they feel is all thanks to static electricity. And remember, in the world of static electricity, frizzy hair is a badge of honor. It's the only time when having a hairdo that resembles an explosion in a mattress factory is actually a good thing. You can also create your own mini lightning show. Just turn off the lights, pull a woolly jumper over your head and watch the sparks fly. It's like having your own personal fireworks display, but without the noise and the risk of setting your neighbor's garden shed on fire. But remember, while these static electricity shenanigans are a lot of fun, they also serve a practical purpose. They help us understand the fundamental principles of physics and how our world works. So, the next time you're having a bad hair day, just remember, you're not having a fashion disaster, you're conducting a science experiment. So, static electricity isn't just hair-raising fun, it's a shocking good time. Did you know that you're more likely to be struck by lightning than win the lottery? Talk about a shocking revelation. Now hold on to your hats, because we're about to dive into the fascinating and terrifying world of lightning. Yes, those brilliant crackling streaks that light up the sky and make us jump out of our skins are much more than just nature's fireworks. Did you know that a single lightning bolt can heat the air it travels through to 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit? That's 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. It's no wonder then that lightning can cause forest fires or turn sand into glass. But it's not all doom and gloom. Lightning actually plays a vital role in the planet's nitrogen cycle. It helps break down nitrogen in the atmosphere, which plants then use as a nutrient. So, in a way, every bolt of lightning is like a little helping hand from Mother Nature. And speaking of Mother Nature, she certainly has a sense of humor. You see, lightning doesn't just occur in thunderstorms. It can also happen in volcanic eruptions, heavy snowstorms, and even in the dust storms of Mars. Yes, you heard that right. Martian lightning. It's like something straight out of a science fiction novel. Speaking of novels, have you ever heard the phrase, lightning never strikes the same place twice? Well, that's a complete myth. Just ask the Empire State Building in New York, which gets struck by lightning about 25 times a year. It seems like lightning does have its favorite spots after all. And here's a little tidbit to keep you grounded. It's estimated that at any given moment, there are 1,000 to 2,000 thunderstorms happening around the globe, producing over 100 lightning bolts per second. That's a lot of electricity. So remember, if you're ever feeling too lucky, just remember, lightning could strike. Did you know that the human body produces enough electricity to power a light bulb? Talk about an enlightening thought. One of the most astounding facts about electricity is that it's not just something that powers our homes, our gadgets, and our lives. It's also something that powers us. Yes, you heard it right. We human beings are like walking, talking power plants. Every second, our bodies are producing electricity. It's a tiny amount, true, but it's there. The source of this bioelectricity, our very own cells. These microscopic powerhouses generate electricity as they pump ions in and out of their membranes. In fact, this bioelectricity is what powers some of the most important processes in our bodies. It keeps our hearts beating, our minds thinking, and our muscles moving. Now just imagine if we could harness all that power. We could light up a room just by walking in. That's pretty electrifying, isn't it? But let's not get too carried away. We're not about to start powering our homes with our bodies anytime soon. For one, the amount of electricity we produce is quite small. It's enough to power a light bulb, but not much else. Plus, our bodies need that electricity to function. So, as much as we'd love to cut down on our electricity bills, we're going to have to keep on relying on power plants for now. Still, it's a fascinating thing to think about, isn't it? The electricity in our bodies, the electricity in our world, it's all connected. It's all part of the same amazing, powerful force. And who knows, maybe one day we'll find a way to harness our bioelectricity in new, exciting ways. Maybe we'll become the power plants of the future. Now, wouldn't that be a shockingly good development? So next time you're feeling low on energy, just remember, you've got the power. So, what have we learned about electricity today? Well, we've journeyed through the electrifying history, where we discovered that our ancestors were more switched on than we thought. They were playing with electric fish and amber before we even knew how to flip a switch. Imagine explaining a smartphone to them. They'd probably think it was some sort of magic. We've also delved into the chaos of static electricity. Remember, if you ever find your hair standing on end, don't panic. You're not turning into a mad scientist, you've just got a bit of a static situation. The solution? Simply touch something metal and watch as the sparks fly. Just a typical day in the life of an electricity enthusiast. Then there was that shocking segment on lightning strikes. Yes, you heard it right. A bolt of lightning can heat the air around it to temperatures 5 times hotter than the sun. So next time you're caught in a thunderstorm, you might want to think twice about that impromptu sing in the rain. And let's not forget the pure power of electricity. It's literally everywhere, running our homes, our cities, even our bodies. If you ever feel unimportant, just remember, you're basically a walking, talking powerhouse. And so we've reached the end of this high-voltage adventure. After all these shocking revelations, we're all a bit more enlightened. Who knew that electricity could be such a riot? It's not just about turning on the lights, it's a fundamental part of our universe. But let's not forget, while electricity can be a barrel of laughs, it's also incredibly powerful, so always remember to treat it with respect. Don't go sticking forks into sockets or trying to rewire your house without proper training. After all, safety should always come first. And remember, stay safe, stay energized, and keep the current flowing.